What's going on, you guys? Your boy AB Vargas here in another episode of From None to Something. It's going to be a little different tonight. This isn't an episode that I had planned. This isn't an episode that I said I was going to come here and I was gonna talk to you guys about something. See, one of the things that I realized tonight is that I'm going through a lot of the things that a lot of these motivational speakers are going through. What do I mean by that? A lot of people that I listen to, Andy Frisella, Bedros Keuilian, Eddie Pinero, a lot of them are going to tell you what happens after the fact. A lot of them, with the exception of like Eddie Pinero, they're not going to tell you, you know what? This is what it was like when I was going through it. I know Andy Frisella has a couple of those. He talks about the process, but while they're going through the process, it's a little bit different, right? And I listen to these guys religiously. I think they are one of the reasons why I am where I am right now, right? I mean, I want to give all the glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because without Him, honestly, I would not be where I am right now. But let me go ahead and tell you about some of the things that a lot of these people are not going to tell you till after the fact. Now, I listen to David Goggins as well. His stories are amazing. But man, I would have loved to feel like I was there while I was going through the process. You know, we all come from nothing and we expect to become something, right? And it's really hard. Everybody's always going to tell you about all these feelings that you're going to go through in the process, through the journey, while you're going through it, okay? Now, a lot of those are mostly failure type feelings. The feeling of, one of the questions that a lot of us ask ourselves is what I'm doing worth it? Is it gonna pay off? We all have fears. We all have those fears that we go through. Like what's the journey gonna be like? Is it gonna hurt? It's almost like when you're about to go in for a surgical procedure, you ask yourself, am I gonna feel anything? Is the anesthesia gonna work? But let me tell you the difference between what I'm going through right now and one of those surgical procedures. The fear is always there. The fear of being awake while you're going through something is always going to be there. And you hope and you pray to God more than anything that you walk out of there alive. Whether the surgery worked or not, that obviously you hope that it does. But your biggest fear is the actual procedure, is the actual journey, the actual act of going in for surgery. That is scariest to everybody, okay? And going through a journey of trying to become something out of nothing is very similar to that. I can say that it's very similar to the feeling of being heartbroken. Let me tell you one of the things that I'm going through right now. I know every single motivational speaker out there says that you're going to experience certain things while you're going through it. A lot of those things are failure, loneliness, the loss of friendships, God forbid, the loss of family. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. One of the things is saying these things after the fact, and another one is actually going through it while it's happening. You know what I mean? And I gotta be honest with you, it feels a lot like heartbreak. The same feeling, the same emotions, the same gut feeling you get from going through a bad heartbreak. That is very similar to the same feeling that you feel when you're going through the journey, you know? I want to call it the journey because it's a process. Now, everybody's always going to tell you what it feels like after the fact, after the pain is gone, after you have healed and you're there. Okay? But not too many people are going to sit there and talk to you about what it feels like during. I got to be honest with you. I didn't lose a girl. I didn't lose a family member. And I'm not going to compare what I'm feeling right now to that of a family member, of losing a family member. Although the pain is very real, but it honestly feels, I want to say, it's almost as painful as a heartbreak. Now, I didn't lose a girl, a family member, thank God, I already said that. But the wanting to cry, the wanting to get on my knees and just pray to God is very, very similar. Now, it's just as painful, but it's very, very confusing at the same time because we are looking for answers. What type of answers are we looking for? Before you go into a surgery procedure, you ask yourself if you're gonna feel anything. Before you go on certain journeys, you ask yourself, is everything that I'm about to do, is it gonna hurt? Am I gonna feel anything? Is whatever I feel gonna hurt? Nobody likes pain. Nobody likes experiencing pain. Nobody likes experiencing the what ifs, you know. But I feel that this is something that we all have to go through. It's it's all part of the process, and I am here to tell you that this is something that I'm going through right now. I'm experiencing it right now. I always told myself, man, it's these motivational speakers almost want to make you feel like you want to go through something so that the process becomes that much more rewarding in the end. But let me tell you, while you're going through it, there is nothing fun about it. There is nothing fun about feeling a certain way, especially when you're out there trying to make it. I don't know anybody who wants to go through heartbreak on purpose just so they can grow stronger. But it's something that we all have to go through. You know, is all this worth it? When the journey's over, am I going to come out victorious or am I going to come out a failure? Those are some of the questions that go through my mind all the time. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. I can tell you that right now. It's very frustrating. What am I feeling right now? Gosh. Right now I'm feeling nostalgic. You know, I have a lot of feelings of the past. I remember where I come from, and maybe that is one of the things that is keeping me strong right now. Knowing that I am not where I was yesterday or when I was growing up, or maybe that is one of the things that motivates one of my thriving factors, right? But do I feel like a failure? Yeah. You look at your views, you look at your followers, and you get people on TikTok that show off their followers. You get people on YouTube that show off their followers, and they're always showing everything off. They're showing off the progress and everything. But nobody tells you about those times when you stall out. This is one of those times when you gotta really push through. Now, my only job is not going on here on YouTube. I am not trying to make it in life as a YouTuber. I am not trying to make it in life as a TikToker. My main thing in life is my construction company. It's called Top G Civil Inc. And you always hear about these companies going out there and making all this money and becoming rich. And hell, man, if the superintendents are out there becoming rich, then who am I that I'm just an average Joe? It's the slow season. It's gonna happen. It's the holiday season. You're gonna experience. Now, I've experienced it on an employee level. Okay, I've never experienced it on the level where I'm out there doing my own thing. It hits a different type of way. You know what I'm saying? You got bills to pay. You got a family to maintain. You got houses to pay, rent, office space, and everything, right? And let me tell you that one of the things that hits the hardest is the loneliness. Loneliness hits a different type of way when you are trying to become something. Let me tell you, you're gonna lose friends. If you are somebody that likes being around people and likes getting praised and likes getting likes and shares and comments, and you depend on other people's approval of what it is that you're doing, working out or your body or what have you, you do not want to get into the entrepreneur lifestyle because it is full of loneliness. Let me tell you. You can't expect everybody to have the same dream as you. Not everybody sees your future the way you want it to be. Not everybody has your vision. Not everybody shares your ambition. So you can't expect for people to praise you in the process, especially when they're not the ones going through it. They'd appreciate a little bit more if they're actually going through it, but they're not. Okay? It's the process that makes the reward that much better. Okay? And while you're going through it, you're going to experience a lot of loneliness. You're going to experience a lot of days in the office by yourself. You're going to ask yourself the one question that a lot of these people have asked themselves: is this even worth it? Am I doing the right thing? It's painful. If you're one of those people that likes approval in your job and whatever it is that you're trying to do depends on those approvals, then this life is not for you. I'm guessing, not I'm guessing, but I took a deep dive into what it is that you are putting on the line. And I'm guessing my kids are the biggest thing that I'm putting on the line. I got a daughter I haven't spoken to in weeks, still mad at me. I got a son that wants to spend time with me. I got another daughter that, man, she is God sent. But she is understanding. She's my oldest one. She goes to Fresno State. And you miss out a lot. I thank God that I went through a lot of things that I went through. Because let me tell you, not having things growing up will make your journey trying to become something a lot easier. Now, I'm not saying that you should grow up with nothing. Nobody wants to grow up like that, right? Everybody wants to have things in life. At least the basic necessities, something that I can't say that I had. Okay? And a lot of times I ask myself how the hell I even made it through life, you know? But you have to get used to wanting things. You have to grow up in life in need so that you can appreciate the greater things in life while you are going through it. It makes your dream that much more powerful. Okay? Now, I had a very rough childhood. When I came back from Mexico, I lived with an aunt, and I don't, I don't talk bad about nobody, man. I don't. But I went to live with an older sister of mine, and I understand. You know, she helped us out. She saved our lives. Literally, she saved our lives. But the shit that we had to put up with, man, I would have much back in the day. I would have much rather been dead than had to live through a lot of the shit that we went through. You know what? Last night I found myself telling somebody about a memory that I had about something that I mentioned on my last podcast about having to put beans in cold water hoping that they get soft. I had to chew some of those beans and so they get soft, and I had to convince my little sister that it was crunchy because it was cereal so that it wouldn't hurt when they're chewing it or when they're swallowing it, salt and what have you. And at the end of everything, I was left with nothing. You know? Now, I'm not saying that I went through that my entire childhood, but let me tell you, just before my mom passed away when I was still 7 years old, I had to do a lot of that stuff. You know, my mom was going through her own problems. She had her own addictions that she had to deal with. You know, she was going through things that I will never understand. But I tell you what, a lot of the struggles of that time are the reason why I am who I am right now. Now, when we moved out of my aunt's house and into my sister's house in LA, man, I'm a very emotional person. I like watching videos about how bad guys get what they deserve when they're running, when they do something and they get caught. I like watching those type of videos, man. But every once in a while, when you're scrolling, everybody knows on YouTube you run into these videos where you have those parents that abuse their kids, man. And every single time that I watch one of those videos where these parents abuse their kids and what have you, it reminds me of things that I went through when I was a kid, when I was growing up. And I am an emotional person. I cry every single one of those videos. But I thank God because it's through those times that I am who I am now. Now, I'm not the perfect father. I'm not. I'm absent a lot. I'm working. something that we wish our kids will always understand. Us as fathers, we want our kids to understand that the process of us working and not being there a lot of the time is so that they can have the life that we didn't have. But those kids are never going to understand that. All those kids want is they want to see their parents all the time. I can't be there for every open house. I can't be there for every game that they have. My son was doing mixed martial arts, and I couldn't be there every single time he fought to get another belt. Actually, I think I was. But through a lot of those important days, I wasn't always there. You know? And does it hurt? Yeah, it hurts. But that's the reason why I'm trying to do what I have to do now so that I can be there a lot more often and not have to give anybody excuses on why or why not I'm at work. These kids will never understand that. They get mad at you, they stop talking to you for weeks. You know? And it's not until they grow up and they have their own family that they understand, oh, you know what? So maybe that's a form of, you know, maybe a form of consolation for us is that in the future we we pray that our kids realize that everything we did was for their own good and that they would understand. Some do, some don't. Some blame those experiences of their parents not being there as a negative thing to do whatever it is that they're doing wrong. Some kids in the future will say, you know what, I'm sorry. And some kids will just never understand. But it's what we have to do. Now, those are some of the feelings that I'm experiencing tonight. Some of the feelings that I'm experiencing tonight are, man, they're painful. They really are. Every single time any one of my kids has ever gotten sick, I wish I could transfer that pain to me because I know I can take it. I'm a soldier. I've been through things that not the average person can say that they've lived through, you know? But failure, the feeling of failure hits different when you have little ones looking up to you. Now, if you're not home because you're trying to do something and you fail, you feel like you lost all that time. And it's very hard to take that as a lesson, okay? It's very hard to look back on your failures and have to go home empty-handed, something that I've had to do before many times. It's not fun, especially around the holiday seasons, you know, but those that persevere keep pushing, and they push, and they push, and they push, and eventually they reach the day when everything that they work for, when all those lonely nights are going to get appreciated. But in the process, you're going to have to spend a lot of lonely nights, contemplating whether or not what you're doing is worth it. One of the things I remember the dream that I lost. I wanted to have a big piece of land. I like horses. I own many horses. And I wanted to have a farm with farm animals and chickens and pigs and sheep running around and cows. And if we want meat in the refrigerator, I was going to go to the backyard and I was going to slaughter our own cows or our own goats or sheep or whatever. That was a dream that I had, living off the land, doing good in my construction business, and not having to depend on anything. That was a good retirement plan that I had. One day I went to the state fair or to the county fair in LB here in California. And I remember I was telling my daughters, hey, let's go look at the goats and let's go look at the chickens and let's go see what they have this year. The 4-H program. And they were not happy. They said I was ruining their day, and they said, your dream is not our dream, Dad. We want to do our own things. We don't want to have to take care of cows and chickens and goats and animals the rest of our lives. That's your dream, it's not our dream. I was trying to force them to like it, and I ended up turning them against me. Now that that's long gone, I realize that you can't change somebody. You know, they're going to decide their own direction in life. And now my dream is to provide my daughters with a beautiful wedding, to provide my son with the business that he can take over. And to die happily. And I hope that I achieve that before trying to achieve that kills me. You know, but these are some of the things you're gonna experience in the process. You're gonna experience failure, heartache, heartbreak. But remember that nobody's vision is gonna be the same as yours. Nobody has the same vision as you. Nobody can see where you want to be except for yourself and God. The only way that you're going to achieve it is through God. Let me make that clear. You are not going to get anywhere without God. Okay? And it's going to hurt. You got to meet God halfway. And just remember what Jesus did for us on the cross. Sometimes I watch movies like The Passion of the Christ. It's painful to watch. But just the thought of someone going through something like that for me, that is their version of meeting me halfway, okay? So how much more painful does my journey have to be able to achieve that grace? Okay? And it's one of the things that keeps me going every day. Like I said, it's painful. This is not a regular podcast where I'm in here telling you don't fear anything. Get over those fears. You're going to have those nights where not everything is going to go your way. And it's going to hurt. But remember, it's part of the process. This is therapy for me. Going on here and telling you guys about my experience, actually talking it out, is helping me out. This is my version of airing out. You guys are in my journey. I'm letting you guys in my journey into a deep experience, into my thoughts and what I'm experiencing while I'm going through this. So that you can know what to expect. Not everybody's experience is the same. There's almost a checklist of things that you have to go through to achieve greatness. Loneliness, heartbreak, failure, heartbreak, emotional, distress, financial losses, all of these things are part of the process. Remember that. I love you guys. From none to something. May God bless you guys. Until next time, your boy AB Vargas. Peace. We're just gonna go ahead and listen to the rest of this song. It's Post Malone featuring Sia. I love you in silence.
Table, my friend, talking to the ghost again. You left your sweater on my chair. Smells like the night you said you cared. Every word's a scar I can't erase. And I'm drowning in the quiet. Every second turns to violence. Can't let go, but I'm trying. Baby, I'm still love you inside. When I can't speak your name, when my heart's on fire, but I hide the flame.
Love you in silence.
You'll never know. I'm bleeding softly, letting go. Love you inside. I hear your footsteps in the rain. Every drop's a piece of pain. The echoes fade, but they never die. You're the reason my tears can't dry. I try to hate you, but I fail. Every breath you still embrace.
guys. Have a good one. From none to something, your boy AB.